हरि ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरम् भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ओम नमः शिवाय। 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 नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम। हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। We shall chant the three mantras from the beginning. Om iti tadaksharamidam sarvam तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतं भवद्भविष्यदिति सर्वमोङ्कार एव यच्चान्यत्रिकालातीतं तदप्योङ्कार एव सर्वं ह्येतद्ब्रह्म अयमात्मा ब्रह्म सोऽयमात्मा चतुष्पात् जागरितस्थानो बहिष्प्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्गः एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुक् वैश्वानरप्रथमपादः. So this Mandukya Upanishad begins with this mantra that all this is Om. Om iti etat aksharam idam sarvam. All that was in the past is also Om. All that is there in the present is Om, and all that will be in future is also Om. So Om is the name of everything. Not only everything which is there within this time, but also beyond the 3 periods of time, what is there is Om. So Om is the name. And this world is the form. And whose form and whose name? Name of Brahma, the supreme reality. So Sarvam hi etat Brahma. So all this is Brahma. All that was in the past, all that is in the present, all that will be in the future, and that which is beyond time is also Brahma. And that Brahma we have to recognize as our own self, pointing out to this Pratyagatma, that self which is felt within this body, that self, this Atma is Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. So this is the complete teaching of the Upanishad, that everything is Om, everything is Brahma, and this Atma is Brahma. But in order to realize this Atma, we have to go step by step, because directly to recognize that Atma is Brahma is difficult. So the Upanishad takes us step by step towards the realization of this Atma as Brahma. So the Atma is revealed as having 4 quarters. So I am Atma Chatuspat. This Atma has got 4 quarters, or 4 as though parts. But they are not separate. They are not like 4 different parts. But all 4 together is that one Atma. Just like a coin is made up of 4 quarters, but all the 4 together is that one coin, 1 rupee. Ek rupaya is made up of 4 annas. Similarly, that one Atma is made up of 4 quarters. This is for our understanding. And when we understand that Atma, it is not made up of parts, it is one supreme Turiya Atma alone. So the first step which we have to take in order to recognize this Atma is to understand Vaishwanara as the first quarter of our own self. We have to recognize Vaishwanara as our own self, not different from ourself. So who is Vaishwanara? What is the nature of that Vaishwanara, who is the first quarter of ourself? That is described in the third mantra. We shall chant the third mantra again. Jagaritastanaha Bahishpradnyaha Saptangaha Ekona Vimshatimukaha Stulabhuka Vaishwanara Pratamapadaha. Vaishwanara is the first pada, first step, first quarter, first thing which we have to recognize. So what is Vaishwanara? Who is Vaishwanara? His domain is in the waking state. Jagarita sthanaha. We experience waking state, dream, and deep sleep. So when we are awake, we experience this gross physical world. So this is the waking state when we experience this world through our senses. So not only my waking state is the domain of Vaishwanara, but the waking of all the beings is the domain of Vaishwanara. That is the place of Vaishwanara. Vaishwanara is active in the waking. And when we say Vaishwanara, Shankaracharya ji writes, कि विश्व एषाम नराणाम अनेकधा नयनाद वैश्वानरः. Why he is called Vaishwanara? Because he is the one who leads all beings he leads all beings. Another meaning is Yadva Vishwaha cha asau naraha cha iti Vishwanaraha Vishwanaraha eva Vaishwanaraha. That this whole Vishwa is a living being. This whole Vishwa, this whole universe is a living being, and that living being is called Vaishwanara. The whole Vishwa as a Nara, as a being, Vaishwanara. So that this vast cosmos which we experience, which we see, is a living being known as Vaishwanara. See, from an individual standpoint, when I look at myself, I assume myself to be this limited body. This gross physical body is taken as I. And assuming this body to be me, I function. So not only this body is taken as I, but also the senses and the mind and the antakarana is taken as belonging to me. And also one identifies with them and consider them as the self. So from this standpoint, when I look, then there is what is called the waking state, the dream state, and deep sleep. So in the waking state, I seem to function through this physical body, interacting with this world outside. But this is the domain of that Vaishwanara. Means myself is not different from the self of Vaishwanara. I think this limited body is I, but really speaking, this entire Vishwa is myself. And that myself is Vaishwanara. So this is a big leap of understanding which we have to take. And this domain of this waking is that of Vaishwanara. And when we go to sleep and we dream, we transcend the domain of Vaishwanara. Then Vaishwanara is no longer controlling us. This Vaishwanara's domain is transcended. But when we are awake, it is Vaishwanara's domain. So every action which we perform is performed by the blessings of Vaishwanara, and the results of action we gain by the blessings of Vaishwanara. So Vaishwanara is the one who leads all beings in action and the respective results. So he is like karma phalatata, the giver of the results of action. So Jagrita Sthana, therefore he is called Jagrita Sthana. Not that Vaishwanara is awake, but in the waking state of all beings, he is present. He means I, as Vaishwanara, am present. See, just like two people are there, we are different with respect to our body. We are different with respect to our mind, our senses. But with respect to the self, we are one. There is a very famous shloka where Hanumanji he says to Sri Ram that Deha Drishtya tu dasoham, that from the standpoint of my Deha, my body, this body, I am your das, I am your sevak. Jiva Drishtya tvadam shakaha, from the standpoint of Jiva, from that antakarana and all the inner equipment, I am part of you. I am your amsha. But swarupataha tvameva aham. But from the standpoint of my swarupa, my nature, you and I are not different, we are one. Similarly, we have to understand that from the standpoint of this body, Vaishwanara's body is the entire cosmos. But the self which is there in this body, the Pratyagatma, and the self which is there in Vaishwanara is same, is one. So here the Upanishad wants us to place ourselves in the self of Vaishwanara. The Upanishad wants us to look at ourselves and the entire creation from the eyes of Vaishwanara, from the standpoint of Vaishwanara. So Jagrita Sthan is, Jagrat Avastha belongs to this individual, but in that Jagrat Avastha, Vaishwanara plays an important role. Then the second thing which is mentioned here is Bahish Prajna. Now this is very important and interesting. That I, who is identified with this body and identified with the senses and the mind, gains the knowledge of this world around me. So that I, who is gaining this knowledge of the world around, is called Bahish Prajna, knower of the outside objects, outside this body. Outside this body, knower of the outside objects. It's called Bahish Prajna. But later on, the next word is used is Saptanga. This Vaishwanara has got the entire universe as his body. He is Saptanga. So there seems to be a contradiction here. The Vaishwanara is described as though looking out and gaining knowledge of the outside world. Bahish Prajna, he is called Bahish Prajna. But at the same time, the entire universe is the body of Vaishwanara. So how is he called Bahish Prajna? Actually, Vaishwanara is not Bahish Prajna. I, who have identified with this body, mind, intellect, considers myself as Bahish Prajna, which is a wrong notion. Shankaracharya ji writes in his commentary कि Bahish Prajna means what? Swatma Vyatirikte Vishaye Prajna. Bahish Prajna means knowledge of something different from myself. So now I have the notion that I am this body and there is something different from me. This world is different from me. So with this notion, when I look, I feel that I am gaining the knowledge of the world which is outside. But Shankaracharya ji writes that this is due to ignorance. कि यस्य स बहिष्प्रज्ञः बहिर्विषया एव प्रज्ञा अविद्याकृत अवभासते इत्यर्थः. This is due to avidya, due to not knowing myself, my true self, which is Vaishwanara. And as Vaishwanara, when I look, The entire universe is myself. There is nothing outside me. Therefore, this notion, Bahishprajna, is a false notion which has to be dropped. Even the notion that I am awake has to be dropped. But this notion that I am a knower residing in this one body and looking outside has to be dropped. And one has to identify with that Vaishwanara who is present in all the bodies, in all the beings, in the entire universe. So, this constant practice of identifying with Vaishwanara, though this body continue to exist, but we have to identify with the self of Vaishwanara and from his standpoint to look at everything. That is called Vaishwanara Upasana. It is called Vaishwanara Upasana. So when we do that Vaishwanara Upasana, we will be able to drop this notion that I am Bahishprajna. Therefore, while describing Turiya Atma, the Upanishad negates this Bahishprajnatva. In the definition of the Turiya, in the 7th mantra, the Upanishad says, na anta prajnam, na bahish prajnam, na ubayata prajnam, na prajnana ganam, na prajnam, na aprajnam. So it negates the false notion that I am inside this body looking out. Really speaking, I am present everywhere and there is nothing outside me. I am that Vaishwanara. So Jagrita Sthano Bahishprajnah, this was said from an individual standpoint. So when I say I am looking out, it is Vaishwanara who is looking out or looking through this body, not only through this body, but through everybody. He is present in everyone. So when through this body I am looking at a person, and when he is looking at me, so I as Vaishwanara is looking at him, and I as Vaishwanara is looking at his body. Now we come to the third point. What is the third point? Ki Vaishwanara is Saptanga. Saptanga means he has got 7 limbs. Now when we hear the 7 limbs, then suddenly the whole picture becomes clear that Vaishwanara is not a limited person. And what are the 7 limbs? These are mentioned in Chandogya Upanishad. Shankaracharya quotes from the Chandogya Upanishads He says कि तथा सप्तांग अन्यस्य तस्य हवा एतस्य आत्मनो वैश्वानरस्य मूर्धैव सुतेजाः चक्षुर्विश्वरूपः प्राणपृथक् वर्त्मात्मा संदेहो बहुलः वस्तिरेव रयिः पृथिव्येव पादौ. This mantra is taken from Chandogya Upanishad, 5th chapter. See, we have studied 6th, 7th and 8th chapters of Chandogya Upanishad. But in the 5th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, this mantra is there. And iti Agnihotra Kalpana Sheshatvena Ahavaniya Agnihi Asya Mukhatvena Ukta iti evam Saptangani Yasya sa Saptangaha. So these 7 limbs are mentioned of Vaishwanara. There is a very interesting way in which this knowledge of Vaishwanara is revealed in the 5th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. There are few sadhaks, sincere seekers, who are doing Vaishwanara Upasana. They are doing Vaishwanara Upasana. So they were they had some confusion. So they approached a teacher. So that teacher said that I don't know this Vaishwanara Upasana myself. There is a king whose name is Ashwapati. There is a king, Ashwapati. He is the knower of this Vaishwanara Upasana. So let us all go to him and learn this Upasana from him. So all of them, they approach Ashwapati. So they requested the king that please teach us this Vaishwanara Upasana. So the king asked them, many of them were there, 5, 6 of them. So he asked each one of them, what Upasana you are doing now? What is your understanding of that Vaishwanara? So one seeker, he said that I meditate on the Dewlok, the heavens, as the head of Vaishwanara. I meditate, he says, Upamanyu Kumar, the name of that seeker. So Upamanyava kam tvam atmanam upasa iti. Okay, how are you meditating on your own self as Vaishwanara? So he said कि दिवम एव भगवो राजन इति होवाच एष वै सुतेजा आत्मा वैश्वानरः. That I meditate on the divam, that Devlok. The Devlok is beyond our galaxy. All the entire cosmos is like Devlok, and it is infinite, it is vast, and that Devlok is indicated as the head of Vaishwana. So the king said, yes, you are doing the upasana correct. In the sense, you are meditating on that Devlok as the head of Vaishwanara, but that is not complete. You are only meditating on the head as Vaishwanara. It is incomplete upasana. In that incomplete upasana, you will not get the benefit. It can be harmful also. It can be harmful. You have to understand Vaishwanara in his totality. It's like somebody, a guest comes to your place and you only honor his head, but doesn't honor the rest of his body, then that will not be good. So similarly, if we just meditate on the head of Vaishwanara as Vaishwanara, it is not a complete upasana. Then the king asked the other seekers. So they, one by one, they started saying that. Another one said that I meditate on the sun as the eyes of Vaishwanara. So the king said, yes, sun is the eyes of Vaishwanara, but that alone is not complete. It will be incomplete upasana. So in this way, one by one, they said that, another one said that he meditates on the Vayu as Vaishwanara, the prana of Vaishwanara. Vayu is prana of Vaishwanara, but it's not complete Vaishwanara. So then they find, each one they talked about only one of the limb of Vaishwanara on which they meditate. And the Ashwapati, he said that is incomplete. Then they requested Ashwapati to tell them the nature of this Vaishwanara. And then he revealed this, which is mentioned here in this mantra, which is quoted by Shankaracharya, कि तस्य हवा एतस्य आत्मनो वैश्वानरस्य मूर्धा एव सुतेजाः. So that Sutejaha, the Devlok, is the head of Vaishwanara. Means in his head, the entire cosmos is there. Most of the cosmos is there as the head of Vaishwanara. Which is beyond our comprehension. Which is beyond our comprehension. The whole, our galaxy itself is beyond our comprehension. It is so vast. And this Devlok is beyond this galaxy. There are billions and billions of galaxies are there, which science has discovered, but there is much more than that. Then the eyes of Vaishwanara is the sun. So when we have to do the upasana of Vaishwanara, then we consider the sun as the eyes of Vaishwanara. He is looking at us, looking at all beings with the eye of the sun. Chakshuhu Vishwarupaha. Vishwarupaha is the sun, is the Chakshuhu. Then Prana Pratak Vatmatma. Vatmatma is the Vayu. So that Vayu is Prana of Vaishwanara. The Vayu which is moving around is the Prana of Vaishwanara. And Sandeho Bahulaha, and the Akash within which we experience around is Sandeha, the body of Vaishwanara, and Vastireva Ragihi, and Rahi, waters is like Vasti, like the bladder of Vaishwanara. And Prithvi eva pado, and this Prithvi, the earth, is like the feet of Vaishwanara. So in this way, the Shastra describe this Vaishwanara to make it easier for us to meditate on that Vaishwanara. And one more link, iti Agnihotra Kalpana Sheshatve Ahavaniya Agnihi Asya Mukhatvena Uktaha iti evam Saptangani Yasya Sa Saptangaha. And when we perform a yajna, there are various agnis are there, fires are there, different names are there for these fires. And there is one very important fire which is called Ahavaniya Agni, through which we offer whatever offering is given to the devatas, is given through this Ahavaniya Agni. So Ahavaniya Agni is like a connection. It connects the seeker who is performing yajna to the divine, to the devatas. So very important Agni. So that is like the Mukha of Vaishwanara. So in this way, the Saptanga of Vaishwanara is described. Means the entire cosmos is Vaishwanara, but when we have to meditate, when we have to do Upasana, we generally do the seva of his feet. So the whole earth is like the feet of Vaishwanara. The waters is like the bladder of Vaishwanara. The Vayu around is like the pranas of Vaishwanara. The Akash around is like the middle portion of his body. The fire is like his mouth. And sun is like his eyes. And beyond the sun, the entire cosmos is like the head of this Vaishwanara. So this whole physical world is the body of Vaishwanara, and he controls this entire physical world. But the self in Vaishwanara and the self in me are same, is one. So this is the first step. Ultimately, finally, we have to understand ourselves as the Turiya Atma. But this first step is very important so that we will be able to drop our identification with this limited body and limited notion which we have. So this is Saptanga. He has got 7 limbs. Then further, Ekona Vimshati Mukaha. That Vaishwanara is experiencing through 19 mouths, as though the 19 mouths of individuals are like the 19 mouths of Vaishwanara. When I see something, these eyes, my eyes and everyone's eyes are the eyes of Vaishwanara. My ears and everyone's ears are the ears of Vaishwanara. So tatha एकोनविंशति मुखानि अस्य बुद्धि इंद्रियाणि कर्मेन्द्रियाणि च 10 वायवश्च प्राणादयः 5 मनोबुद्धि अहंकारः चित्तम् इति मुखान इव मुखानि. So the 5 organs of perception, the 5 organs of action, the 5 pranas, and the antakaran, mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, together this 19 are, through this 19 only all the experiences happen. So through this 19 that experiences are happening, they are like mouths. So these 19 are the mouths of Vaishwanara. Mukhani va, mukhani, tani upalabdhi dwarani, because they are like upalabdhi dwar. They are like doorways through which experiences happen. Sa evam vishishto Vaishwanaraha yatha उक्तैहि द्वारैहि शब्दादीन् स्थूलान् विषयान् भुङ्क्ते इति स्थूलभुक्. So through these 19 limbs, through these 19 mouths, this Vaishwanara, through all the beings, experiences the gross physical world, which is his own body. So he experiences the gross objects. So he is called Stula Bhuk, experiencer of gross objects. Stula Bhuk. See, when we are dreaming, then there are no gross objects. So Vaishwanara, his role is not there in dream. He doesn't enter the dream. What is there in the dream, we will see, but Vaishwanara's role is there in the waking. And when we say waking, the entire cosmos, this is very important. So, Shankaracharya also defines, which we have seen, the meaning of the term Vaishwanara, ki Vishvesham Naranam Anekadha Nayanat Vaishwanara. He is the one who leads all beings in this world. It is by his blessings all activities of all the beings happen in the waking world. Because the entire universe is his body and he handles his own body. So this world is not made up of dead matter. The whole world is alive, living being. He is Vaishwanara, And Vaishwanara is not different from our own self. The self of Vaishwanara and myself is one. See, this we can understand also when we observe our own body. When we observe our body, it is made up of trillions of cells. Tiny, tiny cells are there which together make up our body. And each cell, they have their own function. They have their own powerhouse within. They have their own function. Some cells are busy in the various organs. Some are in the liver, some are in the kidney, some are in the pancreas, some are in the skin, some are in the blood. And they are busy in their work. If you go meet one cell and interview that cell will say, oh, I live here, I do this work. And these are my other fellow, these are my colleagues, they also work, we work together. But if you ask that cell, that for whom are you working? Who is supporting you? They will say, I support myself. I am a self-made cell. But that cell and all the cells put together is this body, and this body is supported by me. That life in me is giving life to the entire body. Similarly, each and every being, means their bodies, are the body of that Vaishwanara. So he leads all beings. And yadva vishvaha cha asau narascha iti Vaishwanaraha. Again, another meaning is that whole Vishwa, the entire Vishwa, this universe is called Vishwa. And this whole Vishwa is a Naraha, is a being, is a Purusha. And that Purusha is Vaishwanara. It's a living being. The universe is a living being. Sarva pindatman anyatvat sa prathama padaha. Ananyatvat. Sarva pindatma ananyatvat sa prathama padaha. Since this Vaishwanara is identified, he is the one with all the bodies of all beings and this entire universe, he is the first step for us to recognize ourselves as that supreme Brahma, because Brahma is not a tiny little object, it is everything. So this is the first step. Etat purvakatvat uttara padadigamasya prathamyam asya. Because only by attaining this, we will be able to attain the remaining quarters. So when we gain the proper understanding of this first pada, we will be able to understand the remaining pada and finally recognize Turiya Atma. So here it seems like a big step, because in the second mantra the teacher had said, I am Atma Brahma, this Atma is Brahma. So it was more or less easier to comprehend because we can just close our eyes and just dive within and try to understand our own little self as Brahma. But here the Upanishad suddenly said that the limbs of the quarters of this Atma, the first quarter is the entire cosmos. So this becomes very difficult to comprehend, and some doubts may arise in our mind. So Shankaracharya himself raises a doubt in his Bhashya. He says कि कथम अयम आत्मा ब्रह्मेति प्रत्येक आत्मनः अस्य चतुष्पादत्वे प्रकृते द्युलोकादीनां मूर्धादि अंगत्वम इति. That how is this? You said I am Atma Brahma, pointing out to that Pratyek Atma. And then you said that in there are four quarters of this Atma. So one may have thought that, oh, something will be mentioned within this body itself. But here suddenly you said the first quarter is Dhyulokadina Murdha, that the Divya Loka, the heavens, means that which is beyond our galaxy also, all that region is indicated as the head. Murdha, the Angatvam, and the remaining so many other limbs are mentioned. So how is this? This is like a big jump. How to understand this? So Shankaracharya explains it very beautifully in the remaining bhashya of this mantra, which we will see in our class on Monday. We are going slowly, step by step, digesting each and every thing which is revealed here, with the hope that we will comprehend it completely, properly. Okay? But I have to also do some work, go through this pravachan, listen to this pravachan again, read Bhagwan Shankaracharya's commentary, and contemplate. More important is to contemplate and comprehend it. Not required to read too many things. In fact, lot of other commentaries which are contradictory and all one should not read. Because what is said by Shankaracharya is enough. So read and contemplate, listen to the pravachan, contemplate and understand. More about this we'll see in our class on Monday. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana. And see you again soon. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Boli Siya Ramchandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.